Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to the BmoreNews morning show. My name's Donnie Glover, and I'll be your host today. We're here with the one and only West Baltimore's own Mr. Party Marty Maurice Takes. How are you, Party?
I'm great, Donnie. Good morning to you, Baltimore, and all on-air listeners.
And there's my ace. How are you? Did
Hello.
did you
How's
rest?
everybody?
Did you rest well?
Oh, I always rest well.
Good morning.
Good
Yesterday morning,
morning.
you looked like you were ready to cut somebody, Marsha. I'm just,
I
Marsha.
don't use knives.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah, me too. So what's happening in your world, Party Marty?
Oh, you know what I mean? Being an entrepreneur, businessman, owner of Party Marty's Moon Bouncers, I see that things, I will never use the term getting back to normal, but I'll use progressively moving along towards the area of getting back to normal. I mean, everybody shares different views on this pandemic thing, how to deal with it. By my background being in nursing, only way you can deal with this thing is meet it head on. At some time, people, everybody, we have to do the best that we can to get back to normal, meaning coming outside, going to school, eating out. First thing, and the most important thing, like our governor says, wear the damn mask. If we start with that, the rest of the stuff will fall in line.
Right.
Miss Marsha, how's your day?
My day is fabulous. Any day I can get up and put my feet on the ground and open my eyes, child, I'm good.
I
I get to
love your
talk.
positive energy.
That's
Always
I'm
positive energy.
Yeah, man. This is like life, and we get one shot. We get one shot, and how you decide you're gonna live it and enjoy it, or you're gonna leave here miserable. I wish I
Wow.
had I coulda, woulda. Live your
You know
life.
that gives me a plug for one of my favorite songs. One of my favorite rappers, Eminem. I don't care if he's white, black, or green, but he has a song. The line says, "You gotta lose yourself in your music this moment. You gotta own it. You gotta
Mhm,
never let it go. You only get one shot. Do
mhm,
not miss your chance or blow. This
mhm,
opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo."
mhm,
When people get up, how you doing? I'm okay. I got a headache. I really don't care if you have a headache. I
mhm,
really was just entering you with a good morning. Donnie
mhm,
knows he participates in a thing that I have every morning. It's called roll call. Just thank God
mhm.
that you're here. The rest of it's up to you.
And that's so real. I just got off the phone talking to somebody, and they had just sequestered themselves. And even though they had sequestered themselves, they still got COVID and had to separate themselves from the rest of their family, right?
Correct.
And then he was talking about how so many people were trying to get him to do things, to be active and go out and to party. And I said, I get the same thing. Folks be joking me because I don't go out and I don't do this and I don't do that. But this stuff is real.
Yes.
And I've part as old as I am, and you mean to tell me, and I loved to party back in the day. I was the
Mhm.
party queen. I don't need to do that now. I don't need to do that now.
Correct.
And if all these hundreds of thousands of people are dead, I'm going to be right here in my house doing what I do. And they can call me. And Donnie jokes me all the time, and I don't care.
I'm gonna leave that alone. What are you cheese about, Donnie?
You're on mute.
Okay.
You're on mute, Donnie.
She's a hostage.
Whatever. You're on mute, Maurice. You're on mute.
Try it again. Am I
Okay,
off
there you
now?
go. Yep.
Okay. Doing this phone thing, I couldn't find the link on the set. But yeah, just like you said, somewhere along the line, we got to get to a point where we try to get some normalcy, but you have to make common sense decisions with these things. A lot of
Mhm.
times I see people that may not really be listening or even get the gist of what's going on, as far as little things like masks. Have y'all seen them, Miss Marsh and Donnie? I know you've seen them riding along in the car by themselves with their masks on. Nobody in the car with them. They on a 2 hour ride, they got their mask on. The mask does not protect you from yourself in your car. It's not protect you from when they riding there with their mask by themselves. Me and my wife just ride around, look at them and laugh and wave. You know what I mean? That's not what the mask is for. The mask is to keep you 6 feet away from somebody else. And I think people don't understand the mask is not so that you don't get COVID. The mask is so that you don't give COVID. You supposed to keep the mask on so you don't project it out. You know, it sure stops it from coming back in too. But some of these little small things, you know what I mean, go back to common sense. It's like you said, you know, Miss Marsh, if you could just miss one of the parties, just miss one of the eating out events and stuff like that. I'll get off track, but get right back on, dude. An important thing that you said. You ever down? You ever be with the guys and stuff? Then we be on our way in. They say, man, let's stop off here, you know, grab a sandwich and get a beer or so to take to the house. And I look back at them like they from Mars. You don't already have beer at the house? You know, you don't already have a sandwich at the house. Do every time that we go to your house, do we always have to stop to get a beer? Why don't you keep beer in your own refrigerator? And I wonder that they work with us, they make the same amount of money that everybody else works, but anything that there's to do, they have to go out to get it. I'm a crab eater, a diehard crab eater. So I buy my crabs by the bushel. And I eat some my mother taught me and freeze some. Bags of 6. I got a freezer full of bags of 6 crabs. And I bring them out 6 at a time and eat them. And when my daughter and them come over, if they get a bushel of crabs, they will eat every single crab every single time. And then tomorrow, guess what? They're out of crabs. You don't have to drink every beer out of your case the first time you get a beer. So sometimes make your I'll leave it with how's it go? My mother used to always say, let me get it right. Learn to love your house. Have y'all ever heard that?
No.
Well, learn to love your house. Make your house so comfortable that you want to be home sometime. Every time you wake up, you want to go out to see what's happening because nothing happening in your house. You ever see people go on vacation? The first thing they talk about is their hotel. You should have seen my room. I had a really nice room. You know what goes through my mind? That's because you got a nasty house. You went on a resort because that was the nicest room you ever been in because you live nasty at home. I'm going on vacation. I want to find something to
Not
do to
what
enjoy
people
myself.
always
But
feel
I'm not
that
going on
way.
vacation because it's got a heart-shaped jacuzzi. I got a jacuzzi at my house. All right, Donnie, I know this is not our show. Your turn.
Oh no, please proceed. I want to hear about this jacuzzi.
Oh, well, my wife has a she shack. You know what I call the woman's cave. I mean, it's got the sauna, the treadmill, the jacuzzi, the what's that exercise? No, what is it? The chair, the massage chair. You know what I mean? I have to tell on myself. I'm 64 and I have a very lovely wife. I'm actually a newlywed. I've only been married 2 or 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But my wife is 45 and she's a younger person and I fell in love with intelligent conversation. I never thought I would be dating more or less in love with and married to someone my kids' age. I have kids that age. But my wife, I fell in love with intelligent conversation. I work in the criminally insane field. I retired from Clifton T. Perkins, which is a jail. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So I work with criminally insane. And back in the day, I own up to my shortcomings. Donnie always tell me I'm an ex-dope fiend, jailbird thug. So my circle was that then. But
That's
when
a lot.
yeah, that's a lot. But you came, like you said, that was then. You were the party person. This is now.
And on that note, we got to give Rod Easter a shot. I saw on Facebook today he has claimed 35 years, no drugs, no alcohol.
Roddy! Yeah, shout out Roddy. Roddy!
Wonderful. That's
And you know,
wonderful.
Roddy is a prominent member of society too. I mean, you know what I mean? He's always on like the Donnie Glover. You turn on television, he was the whatever for his field was iron worker. He was an iron worker or something like that. And he used to always represent them. He was in charge of the local whatever position it was he held. So, you know, as Donnie's saying, we look back at the persons who we came along and we all came along, bro. I don't know if everybody's read Unapologetically Black. Donnie's, I don't know if it's a biography or just we call it Donnie's book myself. But there's things about there that you need to find out about him. Yeah, I know him from as a kid in the little league and a little tough guy in the neighborhood, but you know, he hasn't always been his loquacious self as he am. And I'm appalled that some people think that everybody automatically got to the status that they are without any bumps in the road or as my brother would say, blood on your shirt in Easterwood Park. Easterwood Park, we used to always say right down, it don't have nothing to do if you win or lose the fight. It's did you fight back? Your war wound was having some blood on your shirt. If somebody hit you in the mouth and you was in a fight and you lost, we used Bo Ferguson, you know what I mean, the thug neighborhood bully. If Bo fought you back, but if Bo hit you and you fought him back, you got a medal for that. Because you know what to write down? Tomorrow, Bo will go find somebody to hit that didn't fight back.
You know what I learned? You know what I learned around there?
What?
You had to fight.
Yeah, you had to fight. Ms. Moss, you had to fight back. You did not always have to win the fight. But like my mother said, you got to fight back. Because you was going in Easterwood Rec. Guess what? You probably had to fight again tomorrow. Between the rec, the basketball court, right, Donnie, and the monkey bars, that's 3 different fight areas. So somewhere along the line, they will find somebody else to pick on. We came up at Easterwood Park. Was a prominent park when we came along from West Baltimore. To me, that's only my opinion, the most prominent park there was, because that neighborhood won in every sporting event every year. They were the best in football. We had the best basketball team. BMBL was up there. My childhood sweetheart worked in the rec. It was just a prominent park where everybody came.
I won't say we had the best in basketball. We had some pretty good players, but the best in basketball tended to come from East Baltimore.
Well, that wasn't a rec. That was a school. That best in basketball really came from Dunbar. They all got together to play. But I'm just talking. Go ahead.
Let me shift gears a bit. You said we always got to fight. Marsha, when you think about the plight of Black people in America today, we still have to fight. Everything we've been able to accomplish, American history books will paint the picture that it was, whoa, amazing grace, praise the Lord, give us our freedom, thank you. No, it ain't go down like that. Everything we got, we had to fight for. Nobody gave us anything. Every right, every opportunity we had to fight for, compared to other Americans who it was freely given to. And so today I'm watching the morning news and I'm hearing people complain that they can't go different places because of COVID. And I know what it was. One of the morning shows, 4 scenarios, 4 non-Black people. They were out trying to get the vaccine. And we can't get the vaccine. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm stressed out about it. We are so ungrateful, Marsh. We don't know how fortunate we are in this country. You've been to Africa, Marsh. Marsh, I was in a spot in Africa, in East Africa, Tanzania. I had to go to the bathroom. They pointed to a hole in the ground. And it was a fly hovering like a helicopter looking for a drug dealer. We have running water. We have lights, electricity, sewage system,
yes,
free public education, libraries. You can even go to college for free.
Wow.
Marvin states, with all of these opportunities, why is the cat standing on the corner for 10 hours? In Baltimore, what are you going to get after 10 hours on the corner, brother, but a charge? I saw on the avenue last night about 4 police cars, about 15 officers, a half a block up the street. What do we? A half a block.
Okay, so we're going to take a break for our sponsors. The BEA STEM Conference, easily the most anticipated diversity event of the year. The BEA STEM Conference is a talent-rich environment for recruitment, networking, and professional development. In attendance are college representatives and thousands of elite professionals and students from across the country who represent the upper echelon of the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics disciplines and careers. What you might want to look forward to is going to beya.org. And we have the K through 12 village to learn more, the HBCU village, the interview village, the HBCU reunion, and it can all be found at beya.org. And this company is owned by Dr. Tyrone Taborn, Career Communications Group. But you can find more information on BEYA for this year's conference at beya.org. Thank you all, and hope you find out about it and participate. It's a virtual conference this year, and it's absolutely wonderful. You'll really enjoy it. And I think that it's really important for you and your students to be a participant.
All right, we'd like to welcome our guest, Ricky Shackelford. All that damn noise. How you doing, Ricky?
Good morning. Good morning, Donnie and Mobile. Acting like somebody's mama. What's up, brother?
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Maurice. What's going on, boy?
Hanging in there, Rick. Hanging in there, man.
Donnie had me in a holding tank.
He on the wrong link. That's what he on.
That's what you sent me, bro. Don't be trying to throw me under the bus. I ain't ready. I done drank my tea this morning. I'm ready for you. Let's go.
Marty, do you know Ricky Shackelford?
Yes, I do, sir.
Donnie.
Maurice, compliments of BmoreNews. One of y'all, hey, Ricky, everything was cool before you come in. What's all this feedback? Did you cut your phone off?
No, brother. I've been trying to get into the link you sent me. I used it, said new link. I put it in. I said, this brother bamboozling me. I can't take it.
It's the same link that Party had.
Well, that's what you sent me, Donnie.
But you know what, Donnie? I'm on my phone because I couldn't find the link on my computer either.
Y'all need to
see that.
Hey, Rennie,
that's what happened when you get the hook.
What's up, Mr. Glover? What's up, Mr. Glover?
Hey, Rennie, you know Ricky Shackelford?
Who?
Ricky Shackelford.
I met him before. We talked on the telephone before. That's a comedian, right?
He say he is.
Hey, Donnie, I will blast you in a minute. You ain't that good looking on screen, brother. You ain't that good looking.
Hey, Rick, let me ask you a question. I mean, since your field being entertainment and stuff like this and not being able to go out and hone your craft, what is it that, y'all do to stay sharp? Do you just get some lines from people? Do you get the mirror? What do you do?
No, actually, Maurice, I still produce one show a month. That's my show coming up in less than a week from now, February the 6th, Howard G's birthday party. We got 2 shows that night. That's what I do. I'm not just a comic. I'm a producer. I'm an actor. Okay. So, and right now it's time to produce one show. Everybody's wearing a mask. It's very protected. We had no problems. We have cleanser there. So, that's what you do, man. You got to know the business, and that's how I've survived. Always survived.
I heard they was wearing masks because they were sticking up people.
They was wearing masks, Donnie. Let me do the jokes, Donnie. You ain't that funny. Listen. You ain't that funny. I told you, Maurice, I'm ready for him this morning. People wearing masks, Donnie. They're wearing masks, Donnie, because most of them are ugly. Take their masks off. Let's see what's under their masks.
Hey, you know what? I saw the other day they were posting Channel 13 or something like that. They were looking for a guy that shot 3 people in a Chinese joint. Now, here's a chance to have a mask on. This fool coming to the Chinese joint with no mask and shoot 3 people. Now, that can't be the dumbest thing you ever seen in your life. They showed him shoot. The 3 people got masks on. He the only one that ain't got a mask on. That should go under the dumbest videos of all time.
He's playing the game backwards, Maurice.
One last comment on that. That's true. When we came along in West Baltimore, man, if they had this thing when I was young, being able to wear a mask, everybody would have got robbed.
Oh yeah,
He
you got
did
to
one
release
of
the
me
video.
called me, serve me. Somebody, the boy Beanie Brooks or Vito and them would have said, okay, you know what it is. You seen it on TV, kick it out. They
Yeah.
just run over to your car now, all 9 or 10 of them with the stuff in their hand. You stand there with a mask.
What
So
they got
you
in
like,
their hand?
okay,
What stuff
keep
they
it
got
right
in
there.
their hand? What stuff they got in their hand? Whatever stuff.
Every drug that there is now. I think it's now pills, Percocet stuff. When I came along, it was dope, coke, and marijuana. Now you can buy about 50 different drugs now.
Oh my
These young
goodness.
kids, when they like acting crazy like that, they say they on them pills, Molly, Percocet, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Yeah,
have
but
them in
see,
their hand. When they run to
but
the car, ain't nobody got them in their grip no more. Donnie, remember it was up in the alley somewhere. You had to run up in the alley, get it. They all got it right in their hand now.
and
That's
Maurice, you sound like you're having a flashback. Hey, you know I'm a comedian. I'm gonna pick you apart, and you having a flashback, bro. Come on, man. Tell the truth. Hey, look, tell the truth and shame the devil, bro. You having a
Miss
flashback.
Marsha, pray for us. That's how we came up
I'm
back in
praying
the
right
day.
now because y'all need
Yeah,
prayer.
please
Y'all need
pray.
We
Jesus.
need prayer. You definitely need prayer. Hey, look, Marsha, I thought I was in an AA meeting.
And what you know about that anyway? What you know about that anyway? For real?
Oh no! Hey, look, like the song said, I had my problems. I ain't perfect. That's why I do comedy. One thing about comedy, hey, look, you ain't heard my DVD. I had 4 DUIs. You want me to spell them for you? 4 DUIs. 4.
No, I'm afraid to hear.
Well, look, ain't God good?
All the time.
Well, I had 4 and I'm still driving. Okay.
What
my lawyer name is.
I said, I called this wrong show. I don't know nothing about this conversation.
I was going to ask Donnie. We all over the place. Is it a format or anything today, Donnie, or just free fall?
It's free fall, man.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Hey, Donnie, did you hear what I said? I don't know nothing about this conversation. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
But sometimes we need to.
All of y'all need a lawyer, and we got a lawyer.
Now that's funny, Donnie.
They don't need a lawyer now, right? They need a different kind of lawyer now. They got somebody who's going to tell them how to run their business. So this is a corporate lawyer right now.
We'll always remember that information is powerful. It's powerful. Sometimes we have to share. We have to share what we go through. That way we learn stuff. That's the wisdom in life.
And you know what? You got to know your history to see your future for real.
And most definitely. So that's my whole point. You know, it's nothing wrong with this. We need this open venue.
Y'all don't even know me because I got all that too. I already get it. I know, been there, done that one.
Don't be trying to hide. Don't be trying to be a secret agent woman. Then
I've never known.
No, that ain't me.
You acting like you were usher in the back of the church.
That won't be me either. For real. You don't have to worry about that.
She be like, I don't know where those books at. Them Bibles got lost again.
Stupid.
Hey, you know, I seen somebody. They posted something on Facebook and it was really funny. They showed 2 of the guys that got arrested or something like that with Donald Trump seizing the White House and everything. And it said, how would you like if you woke up today and the feds were at your house locking you up and you just seen Donald Trump pardon Kodak Black and Lil Wayne? Y'all stormed the White House and he pardoned Kodak Black and Lil Wayne. Wow.
He need to be looking out for himself. He got enough problems.
That's real.
He got enough problems. Trust me.
And I want to know what connected him to those 2 in the first place. So that's a whole nother story.
Money.
Hey, look, there's a whole saying. There's a whole saying. Criminals recognize each other. Okay, they all criminals. I know. Keep it real. They all criminals. They flock together. Exactly.
People always talk about Kanye West openly supporting Donald Trump. Yeah.
Hey, Marty, hold on a minute. We got to get some order here.
Okay.
Okay, Cavett dealing with some technical difficulties. Mr. Bob, what's happening in the world today?
I'm just wondering what you crazy folk are talking about. I'm trying to get a handle on, every time I think I understand what you're talking about, somebody says something else crazy and I'm lost again. I'm gonna hang up and go make some money. I ain't got time
about 25 minutes worth.
Okay, you walked into what started off like a NA meeting.
Right. Right.
All right. Y'all had your kumbaya moment. Let's move on.
Okay.
What's happening in the world? Mr. Bob, do you have any empathy for the young black man? Hey, Marvis, I think that's your phone. I'm pretty certain.
No.
Yeah, it is. Do you have any empathy? No, it ain't him. I think it's Shackelford with that cheap phone. Any empathy for the young black man that got arrested over there at the Capitol? Any empathy for
him? First of all, let me correct something. That was not a black man. That was a dark-skinned white person.
Negro.
No, not he didn't reach that rank yet. The Negro is an educated colored person who's just trying to trying to make it in what he believes to be a white man's world. His job is to protect the white man from black people.
Good definition.
This person has not achieved that level yet. They're just dark-skinned white. That's all.
I have no empathy for him. I mean, he shouldn't have been there.
I don't need. Why should he? He's not part of the family. So we got to stop allowing other people to identify who we are and who belongs to us. As a, the fact. Let me be a little more serious. Let me be just a little more serious. The young fellow was obviously misguided, misinformed, and completely out of touch with reality. Now, the problem, of course, is that many people who are vulnerable to that because they don't want to know, and it won't take. See, learning and being aware does take a commitment. It takes some time. You got to read some things. You got to study some things. As Marsha says, if you don't know your history, well, history is not going to come to you from the cosmos. It's not going to drop from heaven like manna. You got to read some stuff. And not only that, you got to be careful because one thing William Barr said is true, which is one of the only things he ever said that was true, is that history is written by the winners. So you got to be careful when you're reading history to look at who wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bob, how are we doing in the city of Baltimore?
Poorly.
What does that mean?
Let's talk about the thing that everybody talks about these days, which is COVID-19 and the city's response to it. Okay. I think that, and let's talk about the particular industry that I think has been hardest hit by the city's response to it, which is the restaurant industry, a subset of hospitality, let's call it. And let's talk about those within the restaurant industry that I have particular concern about, which is those few remaining Black-owned restaurants who are nearly out of business. There's a fundamental principle. Look, if I need $1 to break even, and the margins are slim anyway, but if I need $1 to break even, you haven't helped me by telling me I can go earn 50 cents. If I need every seat in that restaurant with a body in it that's willing to come in, I need somebody in there who's paying the bills. If I got 10 chairs and you tell me I can only fill 5, how am I going to stay open? How am I going to pay the bills?
Right.
I can't tell the landlord take 50% of the rent. I can't tell BG&E to take 50% of their bill or the phone company. They don't do that. So you haven't helped me. Now, people do have. What bothers me most is that protocols that even CDC has recommended for certain situations and certain environments. When every place I go, there's a professional service or personal service establishment nowadays. Everybody they got more thermometers than the Carter got liver pills. People are sticking things in your head. What's your temperature here? In other words, there are protocols in place to provide reasonable protection against anyone becoming infected by. There are no absolutes. We don't really know where it comes from. We don't know how it's going to mutate. that there are no absolutes. There comes a time when you do have to balance, in my opinion, balance your equally laudable objectives. Yes, we want people to stay healthy, but health is not just a function of the virus. We've been, as Black people, threatened by a lot of viruses for a long time. Sometimes the virus wears a uniform and carries a nightstick. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So the threat of death is nothing new to us in our community. What is new and what we have to maintain is the ability to support our community with employment. So every time you do something which affects employment, every time you do something that affects an individual's opportunity and ability to support their family, you have infected them with a disease that you don't have a cure for.
Right. Right.
Rennie, you want to touch that? You're a business owner. You got a downtown cultural arts center among locations. How are you dealing with COVID?
I'm like everybody else, man. I'm surviving. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother just said, we are survivors. But I look at what's happening in Russia and how they pushing back, man. You know, we too comfortable in this country because Donald Trump the president really set us up when from the jump.
How so?
We're just too comfortable to take the risk.
How so? How did he set us up? What does that mean?
Well, he set us up. I mean, from the very beginning, talking about it was a few cases here and there. He didn't deal with it as the other countries did, as it being a virus, as it being something serious, a threat to our health. But we as Black people know that if he's saying it ain't that serious, we know it's super serious to us. Mm-hmm. So even though he set us up, we kind of like laid back in the gap, man, and followed what they was doing, the CDC, and we got to do our own thing, man. We got to separate from the government in this country. And we have to understand when they talking about us, they talking about them. They're not talking about us. We're not included in what they're talking about. And some of us get so comfortable in our lifestyle that we think that we have achieved our Blackness, that we involved in it. But you look at what happened with the president and all the people around him who died. All the people who caught the COVID, I mean. All them 100 people they had on the screen, only one Black man caught the COVID and he died of it. And why is that?
Right.
How can you explain that?
Right.
All of them had the same health care, got the same treatment, the whole 9 yards. Herman Cain went out. So I'm just saying that we have to separate ourselves from the government and understand we are our own us. We not with them. They not with us.
Ricky Shackelford, you got a comment?
You know, I agree with Rennie a lot because, I worked mainstream for 20-something years, and it's amazing how they treat me different than the white comedians, and most of the time, coming from the inner city like I do, I mean, I'm from the projects of Fairfield Homes. And when I'm traveling around the world and have people treat me different, I'm looking at even with the Capitol incident just happened, those same rednecks live in our same communities of Brooklyn and Essex and Dundalk, and if you walk around with blind eye, like you don't see them, that's just a bigger picture. That's a bigger picture of what just happened and how they treat us. And with the young man that was standing in the Capitol, he was totally lost. Sometimes we get caught up in our own web, meaning our own communities, our own environment, and they live in those communities. So they only following what they see, if that makes any sense.
They said that young man had nothing.
Well, there's a couple other Blacks in there too, Donnie, if you look real good. It was not just him. It was other ones in there too. I grew up in the communities of Brooklyn, Curtis Bay. I live in Essex, so I see these things all the time. I don't get caught up in it because I know where I'm going and what I'm trying to do. But you see it all the time. Beg your pardon?
You're not claiming Cherry Hill?
No, I lived Cherry Hill. I went to Southern High School, but what I'm saying, I grew up in those redneck areas. I did a lot of my comedy in those redneck clubs from Pennsylvania, Tyrone. I'm just telling you, I've been in those environments, so that didn't surprise me. You feel me?
All right, thank you. Maurice, your thoughts?
The conversation and the statement was powerful. How we've always been dealing with the concept or crisis of death. I never really thought about it till it was put that way. You know what I mean? Walking down the street in West Baltimore, you can die. Go to the club at a fight, you can die. You know what I mean? All these things, you can die. I think about myself. I'm fortunate enough. I own Party Marty's Moon Bouncers, and I retired last year to go off in the sunset, never work again from the state, and just do my little moon bouncers. Well, once the pandemic hit, now my boom bounce, instead of being a company to make some extra money on the weekend, I didn't realize how much my warehouse cost and how much my insurance was and all these things, because they always came off the top. Now I'm at work. If you see me, I'm an armed security officer. So I retired. I was retired all of 6 months, and here I am back to work. It may be part-time, but I never thought I'd work again. But at least have gun will travel. At least I did have to make an income, but
Right.
I'm not back to work because I need money for my mortgage or for my boat or nothing like that. I'm back to work because I need money for Party Marty's Moon Bouncers. This entity that I invented, that I thought in my elder years I would sell and make all this money and stuff like that, now is a hindrance. I have to work to support this company that's sitting there idle, or I'll lose my warehouse, and had to lay off 2 employees. I drag moon bouncers around myself. So I'm appreciative of a person who did something for me that I took for granted until I had to carry them heavy ass damn things again for myself.
Mr. Shields, is this something you hear all the time as of late?
Who are you talking to?
Mr. DeShields, are you hearing this a lot these days?
What I hear is from a lot of businesses that are struggling to cover their operating expenses, whether it's rent, utilities, paying employees to do nothing, or whatever the case may be. Yes, it's a struggle. But Donnie, what we have to, if the pandemic does anything, if we want to learn something from this pandemic, we need to. It has really highlighted the fact that tremendous economic and wealth disparity in our communities, and if we don't address that, we're just shuffling chairs on the deck of the Titanic. The fact of the matter is, this country, as I'm going to keep saying it as long as I got breath, has to come to grips with the issue of reparation. The fact of the matter is, there is a debt that's owed to Black people that's never been acknowledged and certainly never been paid. You didn't pay it with affirmative action.
Right.
You pay it with giving Morgan $40 million as a gift. You don't. That's not how you pay your bills. You pay your bills by opening the envelope, seeing how much is due, and at least making a minimum payment.
So maybe we need to send the government. All of us need to send the government an invoice for reparations.
Well,
maybe that's a collective thing.
When the conversation comes up, and even Biden is talking about reparation. Actually, he won't use the word, but that's really what he's talking about. When the conversation comes up, the first response you normally get is, well, who's going to get it and how are we going to decide? That's not, when BG&E sends me a bill, they won't even talk to me about how they're going to spend the money once I give it to them. They tell me that ain't none of your business. You owe the money. How it's spent and how we use it is not your business. You come to the table and let's settle up our debt. Now some people are afraid of it. Say, well, that doesn't mean you have to pay it on you to come with a blank check and pay it all at one time. I can talk about terms. We can make some arrangements. But you got those 244 years of slavery are worth something. In fact, they're worth a lot. One day they were worth 40 acres and a mule. Well, the mule's dead. You gave the 40 acres to somebody else. I don't even know where they are now. You gave all this land to white folk who are moving westward in the area of expansion. You killed 99% of all the Indians to take their land to do that with. And still, we got 244 years of slavery, and I ain't got a nickel.
Mm-hmm.
But
what's the bottom line, though? Hey, DeShields, what's the bottom line? What's that number, and how does it get issued and dispersed?
Here's all right. First of all, I don't know what the number is, but here's what I would do.
Or what the number should be.
Here's what I would do to initially fund it. Out of whatever comes out of Biden's wealth tax, whether it's 400 trillion or 400 million or whatever the case may be, I would say give me 10% to invest in what I'm going to call the African American Relief and Reparation Fund. Okay, that's our organization. And what does that organization do? That organization takes the money. We don't give it to anybody individually. In fact, we don't give it at all. We invest that money in Black businesses that provide employment to Black people, and employment that provides wages and benefits sufficient to support Black families. That's what we do with the money. We use it to generate and build wealth over time, and that's a revolving fund. Nobody makes money from this organization. Nobody's paid dividends. That's not what it's for. It's to use that money to build business that employ Black folk at compensation level sufficient to support, because that's all business is worth. Let's face it. Everybody talks about new business and this. What is the real value of a business? The value of a business is only in the benefit it provides for the people in the community. That means employment. Businesses and the problem is we've allowed the whole industry to be carved out of the revenue stream, the financial services industry that ultimately adds little value and provides very little employment. But they take a 33% out of every dollar that's earned goes to the financial services industry.
Yeah, but if I don't have a business where I'm employing people, I still want my piece. And so you can't disregard me and my family just because I don't have a business that employs Black people. That doesn't even make sense to me, because I'm still my family still was part of the distribution of Black slaves. So I still want my piece.
I didn't say how many people you had to employ. If you are a sole proprietor, you are right. If you are a sole proprietor, you're entitled.
And if I'm not, quote unquote, I still want to be able to get my piece of the reparations, even if I'm not a proprietor.
No. Ain't no gifts. If you want a piece of it, you got to be.
Yeah, but my ancestors still got here. But I'm
not issuing any welfare checks. We're not doing that.
Okay. So now we're discriminating against the people that don't have the business.
No.
Even though their ancestors were slaves.
Now, even if you don't own a business, you have a job. 99% of people, if they're ever going to earn anything, they're going to do it as employees. They're not going to be entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are a special breed of animal. Half of them are crazy like me. So, but most people are going to, if they're going to support themselves, they're going to do it because they get a W-2. All I'm saying is we're going to invest in Black businesses because they hire more Black people than anybody else. And I'm saying further that we're going to invest in Black business that provide benefits to be able to support the family. Because let's face it, the reality of it is the community, the civilization, the people go as the family goes. You destroy the family, you destroy the people. It's just that simple.
So what you think, Rennie? You're making faces.
Yeah, I think that I understand where you're coming from, but I think it's coming from an ideology that I don't support. So I didn't come to work. I never worked a job.
Say what?
I never worked a job. I never had a job.
Yes, you did. You work for yourself.
No, well, yeah, I work for myself, but I understood that the government, and the rules and regulations of the government I didn't follow them. You know what I'm saying? I really was like, damn the government, because the government was like, damn me. So what about under your position? What about the number of guys? I'm gonna call them corner guys for the sake of this conversation. That's unemployable. They not employable. They not gonna go on nobody's job. They not gonna go to work. You know what I'm saying? But they also provide for their families and how they do it.
All right. Let me explain it this way. And trust me, there's a door. There's a door there's a doorway the doorway to opportunity, let's call it. Right? Everybody's not going to pass through that door at the same time. The first two people at the front of the line are the ones who know where the door is, and the second person is to hold the door open for everybody that's coming behind them. We can't get caught up and argue about who goes first, as long as we understand that somebody's holding the door for everybody.
So is there a proposal that's been developed that talks about reparations and what that concept should look like?
Well,
has anybody ever drawn something up?
Yes.
Who is that?
There have been what's his name? Bob BET. What's his name? Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson came up with an estimate that I read about 2 months ago. He says it would be the number would be 13 trillion. Before Randall Robinson in his book, The Debt, What America Owes Black People, had the number at some about half of that.
And don't forget Dr. Claude Anderson.
So that's right. So yeah, we've been talking about reparation. I mean, we can go back to Marcus Garvey. People have been talking about reparation for a very, very long time, but we avoid it because we figure if we do it, it's going to anger some white folk. Well, understand now, the contributors to this fund that I'm talking about, not just white folk, it's also black folk who acquired their money and their wealth in the same way that white folk did. It's not just no. There's no free ride.
Come on in, Ricky. Panting.
What did you say?
Come on, Ricky.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. Y'all got me sweating like I'm in the gym. Let me Jesus. Listen, I just want to make my point on what you're talking about. My point is to all that we're not going to get something that we didn't get. Here's the reason why. If we don't keep fighting for it, and you know how we is, we be with something 1 minute, one day later it's over, we gone back to the norm. My problem is that Michael Jackson made a song called They Don't Really Care About Us. I don't know if you heard that song before. Michael is the hottest pop star of all times. If he saw it, it trickles down to us. We have to see it. They don't really care about us. Somebody said earlier, if we don't work together and stick together, Donnie know I created my own production company, BWT, businesses working together. If we don't learn to work together, we're going to fall together. They don't care about us. This is the conversation going to end in 15 minutes. We go back to the norm. That's how black folks are. That's how we are. We hate it, but it's the real. That's the reality. I see it all the time. I just shake my head like, oh God, just another day for black people for us to forget what we're talking about. Stay with the program. Finish what we all are seniors now. We on that clock of life right now. We need to set it up for the young people to be better than what we are. We need to set it up for the young people to be better than what we are. Don't disappear in the line of fire. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm done.
No, I mean, you're right. You're right. But here's the thing. First of all, we can't concede the country to other people. When we use the words like we and they, I understand what you mean, but this country is as much yours and mine as it is theirs. So I don't concede that they. When you talk about they, you also talking about me, and we got to understand that we don't concede. We got to stop conceding that the country belongs to white folk. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. They built it off of us. That's the whole basis of the concept of reparation. We built it. 244 years of slavery. We built this country. It is our country. It's not yours just because you happen to be in the seat now. You hold it as a custodian. You hold it in trust. You hold it in escrow. It ain't yours. It was stolen. And stolen property can never be owned by the people who stole it. It always belonged to the people it was taken from.
Kavette, welcome back. You want to get a comment in while your phone is good, while your connection is good?
No, I'm just agreeing with what Robert is saying, because so often we talk about the divide in terms of who this land belongs to, and we most often forget about the Native Americans who were here before the colonists came and before they brought the slaves. And it's funny because I was even thinking this morning, we talk so much about slavery and how we were affected in our culture here in the U.S. But then even oftentimes with that, we forget that slavery wasn't started in the United States. Slavery was brought to the United States, and there were many other countries and islands that experienced slavery along with us. And those cultures suffered and are even in the process of, being developed from that point in terms of people of color or Black people around the world. So it's just very pertinent that we maintain a positive perspective in recognizing our role and being able to take a part in improving the status that we have and continuing to move forward and grow together, because the honest truth is we all need to be able to live together wherever we are.
Mm-hmm. Where is that? Mark, you've been quiet.
Yeah. My point is to the person that's backstage or the listener. I use Donnie's word. Loquacious. I just want everybody that's listening to know you don't have to be loquacious. You don't have to have a whole bunch of broad views and opinions on these topics and stuff that we're discussing. But if you just sit back and listen to these persons that have done all this reading and did all the research. When you finish later on, all that stuff that y'all just gave out, the next conversation that somebody have on that topic, I will be able to comment. Because I listen, learn to listen, you learn. I'm trying to tell the person that's backstage, you do not have to be the MC of the show. You don't even have to be on the show. But if you listen to all these intelligent people and get your own point of view, get a pen, a paper, write some notes down and stuff, when you get these topics brought up again, you too will have a comment on them.
Okay. Mr. DeShields, right now we're in the midst of the Maryland General Assembly. What should we be paying attention to as a people?
Well, the speaker is putting together what she refers to as her Black agenda. The speaker, I mean Adrian Jones, Speaker Jones. And I'm having conversations with her office now on helping them to draft legislation and to come up with what ought to be included in that agenda. Our objective as a people has not changed. I mean, our objective hasn't changed. Our objective is what I'm gonna. I want to say it succinctly. We have to stop the bleeding. If we wanted to be better, if we wanted to be better for our grandchildren and our great grandchildren, we've got to stop the process whereby this unearned wealth, other people are able to give it to their grandchildren and great grandchildren, so they start off 10 yards ahead of our kids before they even come out of the womb. We've got to stop the process of being able to pass on through inheritance this ill-gotten gain. That's what I call stop the bleeding.
So Robert, what's a short, mid, and a long-term goal? How do you get there from here? What's that process? So you got a short term of what we need to be doing, midterm of what we need to be doing, because this is 200 years later, we're still having the same conversation. And where's the action and the traction?
Marcia, all I can tell you, on a day-to-day basis, for me, it's just one heart at a time, one mind at a time, one soul at a time. I can't do it all, but I don't let that dissuade me from trying to do the little bit I can.
I'm not suggesting that we can all do it all, but what I am suggesting is that we keep having these same conversations in other households. It's the same conversation. We've been having it for 200 years. And so I want to live to see it. I want to be able to still be here and talk about what the generations behind me will deal with. What is the plan? We've got all this brilliance here, right here. We got them all over this country. And there, what is that entity? What is that place? How does it start? Where does it manifest? We've got organization on top of organization. We got the Congressional Black Caucus. We got this social. We got the Urban League. We got the this. We got the NAACP. We got the this. We got the this. We have all kinds of business organizations. We got all kinds. How do we bring all that together and talk about what that strategy is that's implementable and deployable? And when does it occur? Because this is the same conversation, with all due respect, this forum here, but I've heard this for the last 50 years, where people were talking the same thing from South Bend, Indiana, to LA, to New Orleans, to everywhere I've lived. People have been talking about reparations. So when's it going to happen? And is it going to happen in my lifetime? I got a 12-year-old grandson. Is he going to get to see it before he leaves the earth? You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about the same thing.
Well, you talk about it as long as the problem exists. And so, it's frustrating. You know, it is frustrating, but I got nothing better to do. If the problem exists, it doesn't go away. But when the weather turns hot, and I'm not going to drink Clorox or spray myself with Lysol, I'm going to talk about the problem and deal with it as best I can in my little piece of the world, as long as I've got the breath to do it. I don't know. Okay. Go ahead, Donnie. I'm sorry.
Ricky, you wanted to chime in?
You know, I just made my statement, and I meant what I said. I've always stood on the outside looking in. That's why people think I'm kind of weird and strange. I traveled around the world, but the things I meant to say, excuse me, I said earlier, let's don't talk about it, be about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. You know, we can't have a future for the kids if we, Marsha, you said it very well. We just keep talking about it, talking about it. Nothing's going to change unless we make it change. We have to make the change. We have to do the work. If you don't do the work, we're going to have the same conversation another 100 years from now. Well, I won't be here. I'll be up there with God, hanging out with my mom in there. But we keep talking about it. We just to me, it's just redundant. It gets like a headache to me. Got to take a pill to make this thing go away. It's not going to go away. We got to make it happen, man. And I'm saying it from my heart because I care about us, you know. But
you're right. You're right. But it takes education. It takes education, and it takes communication. And you know, I've said to Donnie and Marsha and Kivette, they need to expand this forum so that other people get a chance to hear it, and maybe, as someone said, take notes, chime in, whatever you want to do. But it takes education. Unfortunately, and that's not going to happen overnight. But there's certain things that we can do, start to do at least a better job than what we do today, which is pick those who we're going to send places to represent our interest. I'm convinced that we spend more time picking the brand of toilet paper than we do investigating the people who we select to represent us in whatever form there is.
So maybe there needs to be a cabinet position that speaks to reparations. And there's a person that is being appointed to start that process and to develop the infrastructure for that to occur.
Great idea. Great idea.
Great bass. Chime in, buddy.
I agree with Mr. Robert is saying. There's no one blanket. There's no one solution. Everybody have to figure out a lane and figure out a piece that they can bring to the table. And the tables may not never come together. You may not never see who at the other tables. But you can also stripping what you're doing. You know, we created a black men's group here in Baltimore, and we quiet. Coyote is real quiet. People on this call probably don't know who we are. But we're $1 million in 2 years, right? And what we doing, and we're doing it quietly. You don't have to announce everything that's going on. You just have to be efficient and be effective in what you're doing. And a lot of times we look for the press. We look for, you know what I'm saying? We look to be a scene and looking for, you know, accolades and rewards for what we're doing. Just do the work. Just do the work and make things happen better for you and your people in your immediate circle, and then expand on that. You know, to me, that's how you make things better.
Yeah.
There's no one blanket. If we're looking for one plan to come together, we're going to be waiting for another 200 years. Because we as a black people, we don't even agree on most of the things we talk about. We don't even come together. You know what I'm saying? We talk about us as black people. You know how many different us as black people it is? So I think that we are looking, I think what you just said is right. You do your part. Everybody do their part, and they put their efforts in, and you get the results that, you know, if everybody's doing that, instead of trying to bring together one big meeting and one big table, go do the work.
But I would submit to you, Rennie, that we all have one thing in common. If you black and in America, we have something in common. We all got one thing in common. You know what that is?
What's that?
When that police pull up behind you with them lights flashing, we all in that same boat. We all get that same feeling. Is this my last hurrah? Hey, Maurice States, what you think about that?
Right. Yeah, that's so true. You know, Donnie, I gave you a call years ago. You may or may not remember. I dropped off a moon bounce at someone's house, and they was a police officer and decided not to pay me. So I called the police. What do you do when you call the police on the police? They came over there and they knew her. The whole concept of it is you rented a moon bounce, and there started raining an hour into your party. You decide you want me to come pick the moon bounce up, and you're gonna cancel the check. I don't create the weather. I don't have anything to do about that. And I called the police. When the police came there, the police gonna go up to her house. When they said they had to use the bathroom, I said, "What the hell is this?" I didn't know it was an officer there. She was just a person that just decided she was going to cancel her payment to me because it started raining during a party.
Marty,
I don't have anything to do with that.
Marty.
Yeah.
Marty, I want you to listen to this. Mr. DeShields, while we have this opportunity, tell them what you do for a living. Put a plug in for your business.
I'm a lawyer. It doesn't sound like it maybe, but that's what I do. and
Okay.
I've been doing this for close to 50 years. And I represent businesses of all sizes and all colors. 50% of my clients are not minority contractors at all, or not minority businesses at all. But they're my clients because they've said they want to be part of the family, and that has a special meaning. That means you got to listen to this, what I say. You don't have to do it, but you have to listen to it. You have to understand it. You have to hear it. And if you don't want to, the door, I'm okay with you leaving. But the problem for us, it starts with us. And somebody said that earlier. It starts with us. I'm not spending 1 minute trying to change the minds or hearts or desires or objectives of white folk. That ain't my problem. I want to deal with the people with us. Because as I say often, you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist.
Whoa. I want to make sure people catch that. Say that again. Hey,
You
Renee.
do not have to be white to be a white supremacist. A white supremacist is anybody who believes the white folk ice is colder.
Even black people.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We need it. A lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah. Anybody who believes white folks ice is colder is a white supremacist.
Why you say that, Rennie?
Because there's a lot of people who live that, man. There's a lot of people who try. Their main objective is to get to that platform or whatever they think that platform is. And I said it before. A lot of people achieve themselves out of blackness. They think they accomplished the different degrees, a different amount of money, but they're in a different class.
Yeah.
So now they think that they're in the same. They talk about black people as they. They don't talk about black people as we. When you get enough money or enough status, they start talking about us as they. And when I hear that word, I say exactly what he just said. You're a black supremacist. Or white supremacist living in a black body.
Right.
Hey, Donnie, I appreciate the discussion, man. But unfortunately, like some of us, I got to go to work. I got to go make some money, man. So peace and love to the panel. Marsha, I'll talk to you soon. Love you, sis. Peace and love. Y'all take care.
See you, bro.
Okay, we're gonna go around this horn, give everybody a chance to chime in. Marty, your final thoughts for the day.
Plan B. My final thoughts for the day when talking to the panel and listening. I guess a lot of times people have to realize we go to plan B. My wife always has a saying that she says, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. My plan was I retired from the state of Maryland. I'm getting my retirement. My wife is retired. I'm getting my Social Security. I own Party Marty's Moon Bounces to make a little couple extra dollars on the weekend. I had this thing laid out. I was fine. Never to work again. Sit back and relax. That was the plan. The plan was to do that. I got a nice big boat down the harbor. Now the new plan is, because of the company, now here I am at 64 years old, back to work again. You know what I mean? I'm fortunate enough that I'm in my field, mental health and armed security, that I can always obtain a little part-time job or something like that. But sometimes, y'all, no matter how you figuring this thing out, you better have a plan B. You know what I mean? My mortgage is still due. That warehouse is still due. I was sad to say that I had to lay off 2 employees that I've had for 8 years. That was a sad time. But somewhere along the line, y'all, if you haven't saved up a lot of money, you better be prepared for a plan B. And this pandemic and stuff has put us in there. My last thing is, this person's now that jobs are gone that'll never come back again. I was thinking about it as I come through the tunnel. There's nobody in their booths anymore. There's nobody in their booths. They've been there all my lifetime. I'm a vacation. Every state and city you go in, you pay the tolls. Now nobody's there. Why would they hire them back? If it's been running this time like it is, tell me, why would they ever employ them people again? It's jobs, it's businesses, it's homes and stuff that are gone that'll never be the same. Keep talking about it and pray for them.
Amen.
Comedian Ricky Shackelford, you've entertained us ever since Harriet Tubman.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you was finished or still trying to be a comedian with a cup of coffee in your hand. Without a cup of coffee, Donnie, you ain't no good. But listen, my thing is people don't know that I put 40 years in this business. 40 years. How you survive in 40 years in Baltimore? Pay attention to detail. I'm a military guy. I've been around the world. I've been places from Saudi Arabia performing to casinos in Las Vegas for 15 years. So my travel is really extended because I understand business. Don't get it twisted. I understand business. I'm the CEO of my production company, where nobody in this town, nobody in Baltimore has produced more shows than Ricky Shackelford and BWT, because I'm in the trenches of it. I'm in the trenches of it right now. Somebody asked a minute ago, how you surviving? I'm still working. That's my show. I just did a play, always reinventing myself to be prepared. Have a plan. What you say, Maurice? Have a plan. That's what I get up to do, is have a plan. People don't know my skills as business and management. Don't let this mouth fool you, okay? Because I want people to jump on this wagon. I want, like Maurice said, we got to keep talking about this. Let's don't end this conversation when y'all say good evening, have a good day, whatever, then go back to the norm. I can't stand it. Because my stage name is Ricky the Real Deal. I can't be real and fake too. That's not who I am. I woke up in 21, said, you know what? I'm tired of biting my tongue. I got to talk now. I can't leave a legacy with a closed mouth. It ain't going to work. So you ain't heard the last of me. Remember, I just said, somebody just offered me a podcast on Zoom. I'm going to take it because you know what? It's time for me to shine.
I'm glad the new technology.
No, when I told you, Donnie, we had that conversation. You know, I'm aware. I listen. That's exactly what I'm talking about now. I listen. You're gonna give me some.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me just finish and conclude. You always cut me off because your mouth won't stop. But this is what I'm saying. Your mouth don't stop. I bet your gums are bleeding right now because you got something to say. I keep it real. All I'm saying to you guys is this here: stay with the plan. We do have a plan. Look at. The God didn't gather us here for nothing today. He did this so we can think and learn to listen to each other, learn from each other. You know, hey, look, I enjoyed this more than Donnie imagined. He probably thought I want to be a clown all day. I'm very serious about us working together. We need those new leaders because the old ones are dying. Bottom line. Simple as that. Once, look, just the other day, Henry Aaron passed.
Oh
I know, Donnie, but listen, bro, I ain't talked the whole time. I've been shutting up, just listening.
Oh, you talk. You talk.
I talk, but you had me on mute half the time too. But I'm okay. But all I'm saying,
background noise.
Ain't nothing going on, Donnie. That's that coffee ringing in your brain. Stop drinking that coffee. Listen, I'm just saying, and I'm gonna conclude with this here. Listen, folks, you know, get on board. Get on board. Everybody got to get on board, not try to look for the way out. And most of us try to, oh, it's good. They don't want to do the work. They just want, they want to, like somebody said, the reward. You're not going to get a reward unless you do the work.
Okay, that'll be the final word. Kivette.
Yes, my thoughts about the whole conversation with reparations. And I know my connection is not great.
It's not.
But my whole thought about the conversation about reparations is that we miss often.
It's not clear. Listen, your final word for the day.
The purpose of government is to protect those who don't have from those who have too much.
Good deal. Marsha?
Oprah and Jeff Bezos don't need government, right? The purpose of government is to protect those who don't have enough from those who have too much. That's the only purpose. That's the only reason why we need a government. Government is not supposed to be efficient. Government is not supposed to be savings. Government is supposed to protect those who don't have from those who have too much.
What's your phone number in case anybody needs your services, Mr. Bob?
410-547-8820.
Good deal. Marsha Jews, you got the final thought.
First of all, thank you for this forum, and thank you everybody that's been on here today. And this was very interesting. And, you know, it's like a lot of stuff, a lot of information, but we have to take all these pieces and start thinking about not only our own communities, but our families, ourselves, and how we're going to continue to be our best selves through all this madness. And finding our place. And whatever God you serve, we need to make certain that we're aligned. And it's real powerful. And I just want to thank you. And I appreciate being part of this forum. I have another meeting I need to go to, but thank you all very much. And God be with you all.
Good
Thank
deal.
you.
Up to date. Down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. Hey, Ricky Shackelford, I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, Baltimore.
Good morning, Baltimore.